All right, we are going to continue with our media availabilities for this weekend's Coke Zero 400 powered by Coca-Cola. We are joined by Chase Elliott, driver of the number 24 Napa Auto Parts Patriotic Chevrolet. Chase, we have a lot to talk about here today. This week, the big announcement came out on Tuesday that you and Hendrick Motorsports agreed to a 4-year contract extension to keep you in the 24 through the 2022 season. Additionally, your number 24 car will be sporting a red, white, and blue paint scheme featuring stars and stripes, and the scheme will help to kick off Napa's Get Back and Give Back effort while boosting awareness for the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund. And on top of all that, you'll be wearing a pair of Support Our Troops camouflage racing shoes this weekend, and proceeds from an auction for those will be donated to the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund. Why don't you take us through what it felt like to sign that contract extension, and then talk about what it means to be sporting that paint scheme and shoes this weekend.
Yeah, it's definitely been an exciting week for sure. Thankful for the opportunity and the chance to stay at Hendrick Motorsports for another 5.5 years. I'm really excited about it, and something that I've been wanting to share with y'all for a couple weeks since we got it done, and it's been just an honor to work with the men and women that make Hendrick Motorsports go around every day. And as I've told everyone in here before, and as the majority of y'all know that have covered racing for any period of time, I owe so much to Mr. Hendrick and what he's done for me, and really just kind of believing in me from the time I met him for some reason, and still does, and has continued to prove that as time's gone along. So I owe an awful lot to him, not just for the opportunities he's given me, but just for the faith he's had in me over the years. When even when people don't, nobody else does, he does, and he's made that aware, very apparent for everybody else to see. So that means a lot to me. For anybody, you don't see people like that in this world very often these days that are willing to go out of their way to help you, and he's one of those guys, and very lucky to have him on my team to do that. As far as this weekend goes, though, we are supporting a special paint scheme. Napa's been a supporter of the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund for a number of years. I've been with Napa for a few years now, and we've done this paint scheme each year. And the Intrepid Fallen Heroes Fund supports veterans of PTSD and brain injury. And Napa has donated a lot of money, I think over $7 million with them over the course of their support with that fund. So it's been a great partnership with them, and it's a great opportunity for us to share that support, and a great place to do it here at Daytona.
Great. We'll open up to questions. We'll start up here up front with Claire, and then go to Jerry and Kelly.
Claire Beelang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Everybody's, happy for your contract, but nobody's really surprised. We figured you would stay at Hendrick. Did you talk to other people? And even though you're very settled and will race the same way, does it do anything to you internally to have signed that will make it easier on you?
I don't really know that it really changes how I go about my job. I mean, I think if the length of a contract changes how you go about your job, then you're in the wrong sport, So I feel very, very passionate about that. I mean, I think you have to bring the same amount of intensity and drive each weekend, whether your contract is good for 10 years or this is your last race. I think that's kind of how you need to go about it in anything that you do. So I don't want, I'm not changing how I race or how well I want to do. We want to win and run well more than anybody else around wants us to or think they want us to. So we certainly are very driven to want to continue to do well regardless about that.
Did you talk to anyone else, or were you pretty much focused on staying?
No, we haven't. Mr. Hendrick is, like I said a second ago, I mean, he's been so good to me. Why would you? I mean, really, at the end of the day, I mean, a guy that's been so consistent and has stood by his word since day one. I mean, that in itself, I mean, is enough to stay true to him. So I haven't had any interest and don't. And like I said, very happy to be where I am, and what a great opportunity to be able to stay there for 5.5 more years. I think it's great, and just happy to be affiliated with the people that are there, and especially him.
Go to Jerry, Kelly, and then Holly.
Jerry Jordan, KickingTheTires.net and PRN. Looking ahead to Bristol, can you talk about what that track means to you from a standpoint as being important on the circuit? And secondly, your average finish there in 3 starts, I believe, is 8th. So address your performance there as well.
Yeah, I like Bristol. The Bristol night race is one of the coolest races of the year for sure. It's a race that I've always enjoyed watching on TV as a fan. I mean, it was always one of my favorite races to go to and watch. So I think just because of that, it's special to me. So I certainly want to run well there. We had a really good run there the spring race of last year, and went back in the fall and just weren't really as fast. Didn't quite have it, and kind of struggled with some of the same things this past spring. So hopefully we can kind of get back to what we found there the spring race of 2016. It's a long time ago, I know, but I think it's still the same Bristol, and the same tendencies you fight are going to be there regardless of the year or the rules package of that week. So it just kind of focus on what you have to do well there, and run the top and trying to make the bottom work on restarts, and just some of the same things that Bristol's known for nowadays.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Chase, it wasn't that long ago that you're kind of wondering what you had to do to turn the season around. You come in here off of 4 straight top 8 finishes. So are things now trending in the right direction? Have you guys hit on something, or is it just simple as staying out of the carnage, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, I really can't say we've done anything different over the past few weeks, preparation-wise, leading into the races, at track, during practice. I mean, our approach really hasn't changed. I think we just haven't run over random pieces of debris on lap 20 of a 600-mile race, and just luckily haven't had the stupid things happen that did throughout the month of May. So I think we had some fast cars throughout that month. Obviously, just never really had anything to show for it results-wise. So it really, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you do or not when you have days like that. But no, we haven't changed anything that we're doing effort-wise, preparation-wise. It's just I think our execution of races over the past few weeks, that would be the only thing, in my opinion, that has been better. I think we've done a much better job executing races from a strategy standpoint, from a pit road standpoint, from my end, even when we don't have cars that are winning cars, that day. Like, last week I look at our effort at Sonoma, and I wrecked on Friday in practice, put everything behind, went to a car that was pretty old in the shop, and qualified pretty good, got in the race, and really struggled to start. Our strategy was great. Our pit stops were awesome. We were able to stay out of trouble and got a top 10 out of a day that probably wasn't going to be one. And kind of the same with Michigan. I don't know that we were a second-place car, but the execution on pit road, we had the fastest pit stop of the day, and just seems like things like that, can make a mediocre day pretty good. And those are the kind of things you have to do to compete in this deal.
We'll go to Holly, Jean, Mike, and then Jordan.
Holly K, NASCAR.com. Hey, Chase. I just wanted to ask you, obviously you've started on the pole here a couple of times, but I know the Daytona 500 this year was just gut-wrenching for you. Could you just kind of talk about your feelings? Do you feel like you've learned a lot and you expect the race to go a little differently? Or how do you feel when you roll up here in Daytona?
Yeah, I feel really good about our Super Speedway program. It's been, I feel like it's been improving since I've started racing. I mean, I think we were able to sit on the pole in 2016 and this past February, but I really felt like our race this past February down here, just the execution of the duels, the whole 500 race, I mean, all of that went really, really well. We ran better throughout the whole course of the race in this past 500 than we did in 2016. Which didn't make it very far in 2016. But regardless, I think our car was more suited to run well in the race this past year, and I think that noticed. I think I noticed that, and I think it showed up. It was pretty apparent when the race started. I felt like our car kind of had the same ability and the same tendencies at Talladega this year. Didn't go very good either, but I thought our car was pretty fast and was able to do things that I would like to see of our race car. Once the race starts, and kind of be that guy, as I talk about. When you're plate racing, you want to be the guy that everybody wants to work with and wants to push, and and help. And if that's the case, then opportunities are going to be there that wouldn't typically be if you were a little slower or couldn't make a lane move forward. So when you get in there, it's really hard to see that in practice and see who is going to be that person, or who are, what cars are going to be those cars you want to work with. But when the race starts, it becomes very apparent who the players are, who's really good, and it seems like people are, just magically a little more interested in helping you and being with you when that's the case. So that's our goal.
Have you found that you are, some people are either pro restrictor plate tracks or against it? Where do you fall? Do you like that kind of thing?
Just middle of the road. I mean, as I've said before, we do it 4 times a year, and the points pay the same at all of them, just like they do every other track. So the way I see it is you either accept it and make the most of those races. There's guys who have accepted it and have won a lot of them over the past 3 or 4 years. So I think you want to be in that boat than against.
Go to Gene.
Chase, Gene Fournette from the Times Union in Jacksonville. If you can't win this race Saturday night, and given the sentimentality for Dale Jr., do you think each driver would, if they can't win, would want to see Dale win, even over a teammate, because of the circumstances of this race?
Well, I mean, he's a teammate, a great friend, but I certainly want to outrun him. I mean, I'm not going to feel bad about outrunning somebody for sure if you can do it. So, I'm sure there's a lot of fans and a lot of people that would love to see it, but as a racer, I think it's hard to pull for anybody else, during the race. I think he'd say the same thing about me or anybody else. So like I said, it's definitely a big day here at Daytona, sure. I mean, the Earnhardts have had a lot of success here at the Speedway. Dale Sr. and Dale Jr. both won a lot of races down here, and his last race at Daytona is a big deal. But I can't say I'm, would like him to win over me by any means. I would rather outrun him, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that would like to see him do well. Sure, I'd be happy for him if he were to go and win the race. I'm not going to be upset about that, if that's what you're asking. But no, I think if that happens, there'll be a lot of happy people, and I'll be happy for him if that's the case, but I'd rather it be us.
We'll go to Mike Embry, Jordan, and then we'll wrap up with Zach.
Mike Embry, USA Today. Chase, what has your relationship with Junior been like at Hendrick, and how has your opinion or perspective on him changed since you've been working with him so closely, or has it?
I can't say it's really changed. I mean, he's been a good friend and a good teammate. To me, he's a hard competitor, and that's very apparent. He wants to do well. He's very driven, and he gets tied in with what's going on at the racetrack, and he spends a lot of time focused on that, and he puts in his time and effort to run well, and as everyone wants to do. So, my opinion of him, he's a hard competitor, a good friend, a great teammate. He's a guy that has been offering help and lending a hand to our race team at times, certainly when we've asked for it. Has always been an open book, and I think from a teammate's perspective, I don't know what else more you could ask for. So that's about it.
Jordan Bianchi, SB Nation. Chase, you kind of answered this a little bit, but hypothetically, you're second to Dale on the last lap. What's your approach? What are you thinking?
I'm just hoping you have the right push to get around him. I mean, this deal is
No hesitation or anything to pass him?
oh, absolutely not. No, I wouldn't think twice about it if I had an opportunity to pass him. I wouldn't let anybody win, would you?
All right, we'll wrap up with Zach in the front.
Zach Dean, Daytona Beach News Journal. Speaking about Bubba Wallace a little bit, he's hopping back into the 43 car this weekend. You kind of did that last year, hopping into an iconic car, going into the 24. Have you given him any advice, or if you haven't, what would you tell him about how to handle that situation?
I haven't talked to him a whole lot about it, other than just happy for him he has a chance to go and run. It was kind of bittersweet. He got his first Cup opportunity the same week they shut down his Xfinity team, which was a bummer in a lot of ways, but an opportunity for him to go and race on the Cup side. So I think he's done a good job. I'm sure he's learned a lot over the course of the few races he's run. That 43 car is always fast down here, so I don't see why I'd be any different with him. So You know, the racing, the drafting is certainly different from the Cup side versus what it is in the Xfinity cars, and I'm sure he'll see that very, very quickly. And I think he's a guy who's been doing this long enough where he'll pick up on it. And you know, I wouldn't be surprised if he was a contender, you know, Saturday night.
All right, Chase. Well, congratulations on the contract extension. Good luck on Saturday.
Thanks.